have a div. Now this div is called a symmetric element, non-symmetric element, now which we use to nest these 8 images that we can see here in the screen on our code. We nest them inside a div called gallery, which we classify it as gallery so that we can be able to style it separately. So now we have set there. Now the class is being identified in the CSS as a dot, while the ID is being identified in CSS with an hash. So I've set the container, the div, the class, the div with the class to be a weight of 50% and a border of 5 pixel solid, and I give it red, solid red. Now the next thing we also need to consider, or we also need to check, we also need to apply some style to our image. Need to apply some style to our image. So now we are going to give our image a weight of 100%. We want it to occupy 100% of this div container, Now what we just did here, we did what we call nesting. We nested our 8 images inside a div called gallery. So now we are going to give the image a weight of, we are going to give the image, we say img, we give it the CSS selector. We set the weight of our image to be 100% of the gallery, and also we give it a padding of 5 pixels, and we set the border to be 5 pixels blue. So we give it 100%. Now padding are used to create a gap inside a, this is our div, and it is our container where we have put in these 8 images. So, and as we can see here on our browser, that these images, there's no space inside it, so we are going to use padding to create a space inside it. We are going to use padding to create a space inside it. So now I'm going to give it a padding. I'm going to give it a padding of 5 pixels. I'm going to give it a padding of 5 pixels, that is padding top, padding left, padding right, and padding bottom of 5 pixels. Then I'll give it a border. I'll give it a border of 5 pixels solid, and let's give it a border color of blue. Now when we save, and let's check our code out to see the output. So you can see that our image, this is a container that nested this image inside, that this image are being nested with a red background, with a red container. Now once I refresh, we will see our image will turn to blue. But when we notice that our image is more than our container, or is bigger than the container, now in order to better visualize, now when we notice how the blue image border extends beyond the red gallery borders, this is due to the way browser calculates size of the container. So once we inspect this page and we navigate to our border, we will see how the browser calculate the page. Now there's what we call the box sizing property, which fits in the image to the box, So as you can see, we can see this is the size that the browser calculated the image. So we can see the size is more than you can see our size is more than the container. So now let me cancel this, and now what we make use of box sizing property. The box sizing property is used to set this behavior. Now by default the container box model is used. With this model, when an element is has a specific width, that width is calculated based only on the element content. Padding and border values set added to the total weight. So the element grows in accommodated in accommodates these values. So now what we are going to do, we are going to set the box sizing to contain the box explicitly with our global selector, that is our asterisk, which is asterisk is a global selector. Now so at this point we are going to look at this point we are going to look we will not see any change because they are using a default value. So now the box sizing size model does not opposite the content dash box, while rather the total weight of the element include the padding and border. So we are going to explicitly white set the content of the element, which we are going to shrink it to make a room for the padding and the border, which we are going to make a room for the padding and the border. So we are going to change the box sizing property to border box. Notice how the blue image border will now fit our image. So now here what we are going to do now, we are going to say box sizing, we are going to say border box. So once we save and refresh our browser, once we save and refresh our browser, we can see how it explicitly fit inside the container. We can see how it explicitly fit inside the container. So we are going to remove the gallery image selector, and now that our CSS, or now that your CSS have a figure out of your box sizing approach, we can now clean the CSS and add to see the changes. Now we are going to remove the gallery and the image selector and all rules within it. So now we are going to comment out. In our last class we talk about comments and how we can comment out word or CSS or code in our code, so that it cannot be visible to the in the user interface. So we are going to create a gallery image selector to target them and give them all a weight of 100% and a max of 350%. We are going to target them and give them a weight of 100% and a max weight of 350 pixels, and set their weight property to 30 to 300 pixels to keep our images in a uniform size. So instead of us selecting them one after the other, we are going to give it a group selector. Now what we will do now here, we are going to do what we call a group selector. So here I will say .gallery, right? I will add comma, then I will say img, then my CSS selector. Then we are going to give it a weight of 100%. We want the container to take 100% of our web page, and we want the gallery to take 100% of our container. We want the gallery to take 100% of our container. Then we also set its weight, maximum weight that it can obtain. We can set the max dash weight of our container, and also our image to be 350 pixel, that is the maximum weight that it can attain. And we are going to also set our weight property to 300 pixels so that we can keep our images in a